Kirk, what's going on, man?
Not much, just hitting you up today. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Are you in the middle of a jungle? I mean, I see like there's like this bridge behind you.
I wish. Actually, where I live, it's called the Aspens. And if you come out here, there's like it's just city, buildings, stores, and then the Aspens, and it looks like utopia. It's just all trees, all nature. I love that type of setting.
Very cool. Because we've had a couple of digital nomads that would totally be like in their Zen moment, like just out there in the world doing their thing. So I had to ask first. Obviously, it's just a painting. I saw it beforehand, but so I appreciate you coming on the show today. So an ad agency, they've changed over the years. It's not just like that TV show, Mad Men.
Yeah.
What is an ad agency, and why should someone use one?
Well, an ad agency, you'd reach out to them if you want to improve your marketing. You can't be an expert at everything. You can't. Typically, business owners, when they're starting out, they're bootstrapping it. They're trying to do everything on their own. Eventually, you're hoping that you have a budget to hire talent, hire a team, grow. And that's when you reach out to an ad agency. Normally, depending on which agency you go to, they have like focuses. So for us, we do like websites, videos, PPC, content creation, those type of services. So if you're looking to grow your brand, if you're looking to increase your online presence, that's when you'd reach out to an agency.
So for a business that is looking to do exactly what you said, improve their marketing, what type of things should they be looking for? Not necessarily just with your business, Treehouse 51, but in general around what a advertising agency should be able to provide them. Like, how does someone understand that that person is credible and can do
Yeah.
good work and stuff like that? Because I think oftentimes people don't know what to look for. They spend thousands of dollars on something, then they're extremely unsatisfied, and it could have been prevented had they asked a series of questions in the beginning.
No, you're absolutely right. How do you know that the person you're hiring is worth their salt? It's a huge thing that I see happen a lot. Um, there's a couple of things to look out for. One is you get what you pay for. I'm sure you've heard of sites like Fiverr, Upwork. There's a ton of those like freelance websites. The gig economy is really hurting businesses, I think, in some ways, in that you can go online and be like, okay, I want a website and I can pay somebody $5 to do it. This you can find this on sites like Fiverr. You can find that outsource freelancer who's in India. He'll do that work for you. But just remember, you get what you pay for. In some situations, you will find talent. You will find somebody who's like, wow, that was an awesome deal. But a lot of times, you're going to find like, okay, this is really hard to communicate with them. The work isn't that great. So be careful of this deal is too good to be true. Other things to look out for is look for testimonials. Ask, have you worked with other people? Can I see their testimonials? Can I see their work? Some people, they're not going to have samples to show you, and that shouldn't be a reason to disqualify them. What you should do is say, like, okay, if you don't have testimonials, if you don't have clients, do you have a portfolio? So there's no reason why a web developer can't create samples and be like, hey, I've never worked with clients before, but I have a portfolio. Can you check this out? And that should be acceptable. And then talk to them, communicate to them. So everybody has their own process, their own way of doing things. Hiring people who are remote, so the person who you're not going to see in your office, is way, way different than bringing somebody into your office. So you have to make sure that communication's there. That's somebody you can trust, somebody who just everything, the scope of work is just really, really clear between both parties.
So communication tips for remote workers, and I think the world is going more towards remote anyway. What are some ways, or what kind of a like roadmap or process should someone put in place to understand that kind of remote style? Because it isn't different. It is different because I might be able to see you across a computer. I might be able to communicate you via email, but you're not physically coming into my office. So what's the difference there, and what are some of the things that people should be doing from a communication standpoint?
What I've noticed, I've used to work 9 to 5 jobs and then doing Trail 51 and the Bug Squasher. It's all remote. And what I noticed is with the 9 to 5 jobs, people see you every day. So you have those relationships. It's hard to fire the guy that you see 5 days a week. It's easy to fire the person who you just get an email from once a month. There's not that connection there. So keep that in mind, I guess, the people who are remote. You really want to make sure you have to communicate 3 times as much to make sure you're in that person's mind. And don't communicate just to communicate, have it be a point. And then in terms of how to be successful working with remote workers, make sure that the scope of work is clear. That's probably the biggest advice I can give somebody. Oftentimes, we see clients say, okay, I want to do XYZ. And then you can't just say, I want to do XYZ. You have to explain what that is. What are the milestones? What are the objectives? You have to get that stuff out. And if you don't get it out and then you get like the deliverables from the freelancer and it's not what you want, it's not their fault. It's really your fault for not going that extra mile, that extra 10% saying these are the things that I need.
Yeah, and so many people are unsatisfied with agencies no matter what they do or no matter what their focus is. And I think a lot of that is scope of work, understanding that things that you thought they were one thing that the other person doesn't. And so I definitely think that ensuring that scope of work is clear is really important. What type of headphones are those?
I think these are the bass or the boom ones.
Nice.
See that?
Very cool. So let me ask you this. So marketing and advertising, are they the same thing? Are they different? How do you define both?
For us, it's all the same. For us, the way that we work is you can go to anybody to make your website. That's the truth. You can go to Wix, you can go to India, you can go to your local agency, you can find an agency across the states. You're really the process to deliver that website. It's the same 200 things. It's the only difference is who's going to execute it and what's that experience going to be like. So for Treehouse 51, we pride ourselves on, we don't consider ourselves experts. We actually stay away from that. And I tell people that all the time, like when we were hiring developers, anybody who said like, oh, I'm an expert at this, like, nope, you're gone. So we're students. We're all about like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to try to communicate to you so you know what the expectations are. This is where we're going to start. This is where we're going to end.
I like that. Students, not experts. Can you talk me through how you came to that decision?
I came to that decision because I actually worked for one of those websites. Our team actually worked for one of those websites, those freelance websites. And I met freelancers across the world. And it was such a positive experience. I got to see like, hey, you're taking business from me. I got to see like who these people were and actually put a face to them. And I've made all these friends. And during the process, I met a lot of people who I was like, how did this guy take business from me? He sold himself as an expert. And I just had like a sour taste in my mouth from the whole experience on that part of it. So it was a learning experience having actually a client in the space. And then when I recognized that, I realized, we're not really experts. The person who highlights everything in the book really didn't highlight anything in a book. And that's how I kind of approached that, at least bringing on people on the team and what to look out for.
What was that freelance website?
That freelance website was Golance, GOLANCE.com.
Got it. So walk me through that. So someone starts basically saying that they're an expert in everything, and other clients that you had or potential clients and customers would see that and were encouraged by that and then decided to hire that person instead of you. So is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people get distracted by, oh, wow, this is such a great deal. This is $10, $5, $2 an hour, and this person's an expert. And they say they're an expert. They have a web page on the site, so they must be an expert. And a lot of people, they need their projects to advance. So sounds like a great deal. The price is right. They're using the right words. Let's make it happen. Let's make a deal. Let's try it out. Hey, if it doesn't work out, it's fine. We'll just tweak it as we go. But in the end, the project will hurt, generally.
You know what's interesting, though, is everyone is an expert to someone, right? So, like, this world better than someone. So, in theory, you are kind of an expert.
Oh, God.
But there is someone out there who's like, Kirk is the expert in this, in marketing, in advertising. I'm the expert in being the best interviewer in the world. That's what I start telling myself now.
Nice.
But there's a story behind it. Maybe I'll tell you later. But it is an interesting word that you move to with students, because I do also believe that if we're not growing, we're dying. And I can't remember if that was a quote that I heard somewhere or not, but it's so true. And like, we're constantly learning. And people ask me all the time, like, Zack, how are you learning this new stuff? I'm like, I just don't stop learning. Like, I think education's super important. I don't necessarily think the form or the way that we educate people is necessarily the greatest route that people should go through. But I love YouTube. I love the internet because I can learn so much, and I learn exactly what I want, not some random I don't know, accounting class that I don't really want to take, so I'll just hire someone to do. And so it's interesting. So it's cool that you say that. So how did you guys come across your focus? How did you kind of pinpoint the 2 or 3 things that you guys use as kind of your selling point?
For our products, that just came from what were people asking for. A lot of people ask us for websites. A lot of people ask us for like email marketing, PPC, videos. Those were just the ones where it was just like, we have a lead, they're interested in a website, like, okay. And then it was just like a natural upsell or a natural progression, like, okay, after the website, you're going to need email marketing or PPC and video.
What's your favorite marketing email marketing site to use?
Ooh, okay. So I've used them all, from Intercom to MailChimp to ActiveCampaign to Constant Contact. My favorite one is Intercom. And the reason why is Intercom, they have email marketing, they have automation, and they have live chat. And what I've seen with a lot of websites, with a lot of our clients, is those who have live chat tend to get more conversions than those who don't. So I'm thinking eventually MailChimp is going to get in that game, since they're like the grand poppy of them all for email marketing. But they haven't done it yet. But I typically see a lot of brands using MailChimp because they're so well known. But I think Intercom is really, really great.
Yeah, it's Intercom with an Intercom. They started maybe a decade ago. Really good stuff as well. What's interesting about what you just said about MailChimp, and actually what I think why they're the granddaddy of them all, is actually because they have a free plan to start and no one else does.
Yeah.
So when someone's super small, they can go back to it. And so, interesting story. So I've done some of those. I've done MailChimp. We tried going to ConvertKit at one point, but it was really early on, and we weren't really blog focused stuff. We were trying to do more with, fun images and GIFs and stuff like that. Stupid branding 101 stuff, and so that ConvertKit didn't work at that point. It probably would work now. And then we moved to ActiveCampaign off of MailChimp, specifically because we needed basically if this, then that's. So if someone bought this product, don't send them buy this product again email. And at the time, apparently MailChimp didn't have that. Do they have that now, apparently?
They have like automations, but I don't remember if it's as detailed as that.
Yeah.
They probably have something like that.
ActiveCampaign does.
Yeah, ActiveCampaign also has text message marketing, which when I saw that, I was super excited about. We tried it on a couple of clients. It was a little glitchy, but still, I was like, they're going to figure it out, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they also have a sales CRM tied to it as well. So interesting story. So I just wrote a book called Anomaly, How to Finally Stand Out from the Crowd. And I'm teaching people basically a series of how to be seen when there's 5,000 ads a day, basically. And so the one question that I continue to get over and over again over the last decade is, Zack, I have this business, I have this product, I have this app, this tool, service, whatever. It's awesome, but no one knows about it. How do I get people to see it? And so I'd answer that question a million different ways. And finally I was like, I'll put it all in one bound place. But what's interesting is one of the premises that I gave myself in the book is I wanted it to be things that were cheaper than the book. Meaning I wanted to give you tools that you could basically get for less than $30 to use. And so recently I was like, okay, I'm not even necessarily eating my own dog food, so I need to cut back on some of these tools that I'm using because they're too expensive. Right. So we still kind of lightly have an ActiveCampaign account, and I'm not unsatisfied with them. I just wanted to get into the shoes of my customers. So I have not, other than like 2 weeks ago, sent an actual like email marketing email myself that I've done because I've always kind of paid someone on my team to do it. And so I signed up for a free MailChimp account. And I had to relearn how to use these things because I haven't done it in like 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And it was, the first day it took me like 12 hours. I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. But I'm learning. The second one took me like 10 minutes. It didn't take me 12 hours, that's a lie. But the point is like, that thing is stupid easy to use, where some of these other ones are a little bit more technical, and I think there's less technical people in the world than technical people. So I think that's another reason why MailChimp is so kind of beneficial in that respect.
Yeah. So I've actually been experimenting with Zoho campaigns. So they have a free email marketing platform. I think you can send up to 1,000 or 2,000 emails per month. It's nowhere near as legit as MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or these big ones, but I kind of like it. I kind of like in a world where everybody's sending all these drip campaigns, mail Zoho is like so basic that your email looks like a regular email. And I've been noticing like more people are opening that than the fancy one with all the graphics and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Zoho also has an email client, right? So it can
Yeah.
actually be like, yeah, that's them. So how do you, a lot of times agencies, specifically marketing agencies, are really good at helping their clients, but they suck at marketing themselves. How do you ensure that you actually can market yourselves too to continue to get clients?
Well, we actually suffer from that to a degree. We actually, I mean, there was a period where we were like, okay, we have clients, we're doing work, we're just coasting, we're just doing this, instead of thinking like, what's going to happen 3 months from now, what's going to happen 9 months from now. So we are guilty of that too. Um, Recently, we launched the Bug Squasher. That's the app that you and I were talking about before. And now it's this new company, and we're treating it like a client of ours. So we're like, well, how do we get this out? How do we talk about it? How do we get people interested in it? Uh, what the biggest thing to do is make it a habit to create content. Blogs are the easiest thing to do, but it's also it's kind of time consuming. For the Bug Squasher, we actually shot a rap video. So we hired a rapper, got some stock footage, and put that together, and just had some fun with it. But you need to make it a point. Like, don't forget to do stuff for yourself. Even if it's just, I say blogs. I know a lot of people are going to be like, let's do social media, let's do Facebook. Nah, I don't really think so. I think blogs are going to have more SEO value for your site.
I think it's important. I think this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, where Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're not search engines. They might have
Right.
search capabilities, but you really can't index them the same way that a YouTube, and YouTube's light, even though it really is a search engine, like a Google or a Bing. And people don't get that. They're like, oh, I should just create a following on Facebook. I'm like, sure, that's great. But what you don't realize is that when you Google something and the thing that comes up is 10 years old, is because that thing is indexed.
Yep.
Where your Facebook post that was really popular and got, I don't know, 1,000 likes doesn't pop up because they're not the same thing. And so I appreciate that. So what I tell people is, create a repeatable, searchable content. And so, advertise and market it on Facebook to get people to go to that page, sure. But don't forget to actually get something that can be indexed and live online forever, that can be found. So I definitely appreciate that. And whether it's a blog or it just needs to be content that needs to be indexed.
Exactly.
How do you
Videos are really great, and it's super easy now. So just get out your cell phone, start recording, make it like a 30-second thing, throw it on YouTube. Just create content.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just make one and then make the next one and make the third one. Just keep going.
So a couple things with that. So I totally believe in the whole habit thing. So there's an app that I use. I think it's iOS only. It's called Productive. And so every day I set these kind of standards. You need to do this every day. And if I do it every day, I swipe right and it says I've done it. Like I've worked out every day this year. So I'm like 180 days. And so it's like, bam, so I'm there. But if I don't do it, it doesn't tell me. So I lose. So making it a habit is such a big thing. From a content perspective, I love that you said that as well, because I started about the beginning of this year a weekday Facebook Live show. And so I do that every weekday. And I do it, but then I also I pull the audio from it and put that on my podcast. And then I take the video and post it on YouTube. And so I made it once, but it goes to 3 different places. And that's so powerful.
There you go.
And I tweak things a little bit in each of them. But basically it's create that content. They're 2 to 15 minute videos. And it's super easy. I use a tool called Ecamm Live. It cost me $40. I mean, people are like, how do you come up with all these ideas? I said, I just listen to what you said and then I regurgitate it. So
I actually found this tool. I'll send you the link of it. It's an app for iPhone. I don't remember what it's called right now, and I just saw it yesterday. It was on some LinkedIn post or something, and some new app that got launched. And what they're doing is record once, and it goes to all your social media channels: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, I think. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's good or not, and I don't remember the name, but I'll send it to you.
I believe that social media will be dead in 10 years.
All right. Well, that's all right.
What do you think?
I think we live in a world where people love to talk about themselves. So I think it's going to be hard to get rid of that. I do think sites like Facebook, it's becoming like dad book. So it's an older audience now. It's kind of changing. Instagram's like really picking up. I think sites like Instagram are going to just continue to grow. They have like this new video feature, which I think it's going to be huge. YouTube as well. I think YouTube will always be big, but now I think YouTube finally now has a fight against Instagram when that video stuff starts to
Do you
pick
think
up.
YouTube though is a social media site? Because I don't.
I think yeah, you're right. Like they've been trying to get like, okay, let's have more communication, let's do things live, but they're still kind of lacking that like you're my follower, let's engage, let me comment back. They're not as good as the other ones.
Yeah. The reason I think as we continue to get, it's too opinionated now, and I don't know that everyone's going to. I think at some point everyone's going to unfollow everyone, and no one's going to want to be on these sites anymore because it's going to make them so much worse. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe the world will get even worse. Who knows?
Well, I used to go on Facebook all the time because of the news feed, and then Zuckerberg announced he was going to get rid of it, and I was like, oh, haha, Zuckerberg. And then he got rid of it the other week or like a couple weeks ago, and I just stopped going on Facebook. I'm like, well, there's just no point anymore. Now I'm just like on Instagram, YouTube, like that type of stuff.
About 4 months ago, I deleted all social media off my phone just to not have it, and it's been glorious.
It's freeing, yeah.
It's very good. What do you do in your free time? Like, what do you love?
I love music. I play guitar. I love just creating stuff, writing music. Last year I got married and I connected with my old bass player from high school, and we started jamming again, just writing stuff for fun. And it was so good for my heart. It was so good just to, an artist has to create art, a writer's got to write. You got to do something. You got to follow your passion, not forget about that stuff. So that was really good for me at the time, and still is.
I think that's great. How old are you?
I am 32.
All right. So when you were in high school, I'm 34, so we're about the same age. What was kind of the world teaching you to do? Like, what was like the process of for me, it was like, what I'm getting at is graduate high school, go to college, get a job, do whatever. Is that the same kind of thing that they were kind of teaching?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing for school was get good grades, go to college, you'll get a job. That's the plan. Just follow the plan and everything will be fine.
Is there something back when you were, I don't know, 17, 18, 19, maybe even 16 that you wish you would have done from a content perspective that would have made maybe accelerated your career, 16 years later?
I think one thing I wish I actually did, and this was actually in college, so a little bit more going forward a little bit, was join more groups and activities. Be more social with people. In high school, I was actually taking college classes. There was this program where if you took a college class, the high school would pay for it. And I was like, well, this is cool. So I signed up for a bunch of classes, and then I graduated early. And before I graduated early, I signed up for a full semester of college. And I had the high school pay for the first semester, not knowing like, hey, like I didn't know I was going to pass the GED exam to leave high school to go to college. But I'm like, if this works out, I get a free semester. And so that worked out. So I was very much focused until like, let me get the grades, let me get the credits. I wish, though, I had taken more time to be part of activities and those type of things and exploring that stuff.
What did you graduate college?
I did.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Cal State Long Beach. I got a film degree in screenwriting.
Okay. With that degree, what do you use from it now?
Ooh, I still write. I still write all the time. For Treehouse 51, we do create video promos for companies. So I get to write scripts, little short commercials. For the Bug Squasher, I get to help write that and direct it and come up with the shots and all that stuff. So that's probably the biggest part of my degree. I still am like really good friends with the people I went to school with. We're still in writer mode, working on scripts that will probably be like years before we're confident to show anybody.
That's cool. So Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they're all creating content that is literally trying to be binged. And if you think about it, binging content 5 years ago sounded like the most ridiculous thing in the world. People were like, what? You're going to take an entire Saturday and watch 13 hours of content? People would say, no, I'm not going to do that. That's a waste of a day. Yet that's what people are doing now. How does someone create content that is so bingeable that people cannot stop watching?
I think the secret is my favorite show in the world is Breaking Bad. And Breaking Bad, have you had a chance to check it out?
I have not.
Okay, homework.
My
Saturday.
My wife has watched it, so I'd have to do it on my own. See, I when I watch content like that, I don't stop. Like I watched Lost in like 14 days. I watched The Office in like 6. Like I don't stop. I'm just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. So thanks for taking away like 10 days of my life. Appreciate that, Kirk.
Yeah. I saw Breaking Bad, and when Breaking Bad was done, I did not watch a complete show again for over a year. I was like, I'm emotionally drained. I cannot commit to anybody. I'm just dating shows right now. I can't do it. But I think you have to find something. You have to find something that emotionally resonates with people. Um, People aren't stupid, so I think they want something when they turn on the TV. They want to escape. They want to be told a story. They want to be like see something they haven't seen before, and see something that they can connect with on some type of level. I think connecting with them emotionally in some way is a good way to do it. Breaking Bad with Heisenberg, Walter White, he was this anti-hero. I think a lot of people could see themselves like, wow, this guy's the working class guy, and all of these things are happening. Now he's going down a dark path. What is he going to do? And then what would I do in that situation?
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so let's put this to an exercise. So basically you're saying find what people will emotionally relate to. How do you figure that out? Like how do you figure out as someone that produces content what emotionally will relate to them?
The very first thing I do with everything is make it for yourself. Ignore all the noise, ignore everybody else. What is it that you love? What is it that makes you excited? What is it that makes you passionate? Owning Treehouse 51, I've been really, really fortunate to actually make a couple videos for different clients where they said, here's a budget, shoot something for us. And they didn't talk to me about their idea. They didn't talk to me about any of that stuff. I had full creativity control. I would never have that like in Hollywood space. I know that because, well, I have film friends in there, and it's like there's actually a protocol for that type of stuff. So make things for yourself first. Don't try to be like, okay, everybody loves Breaking Bad, so I'm going to make the next Breaking Bad. No, if you like, I don't know, if you want to make if you're really big into guitars as examples and you have an idea for a guitar show, make it, do it for you first. Do that stuff. Always create stuff for yourself first, and then see how people react to it.
So there's a part of my book, and it brings me back to my high school days where I would travel the country riding different roller coasters. So I've been to Magic Mountain, I've been to Knott's Berry Farm, I've been on the the Long Beach Boardwalk, whatever that is, that roller coaster there. So I've been on all these different places that are close to you, even though I live on the East Coast. And so I was not taught, and maybe my thoughts of this, I couldn't actually do this myself, so maybe that's why I didn't do it. But like entrepreneurship or building your own business or creating your own life was not something that was kind of talked about growing up.
Yeah.
Not that it was, maybe it was frowned upon, but it wasn't just like this sexy thing like it is now. And so I look at things like, okay, like I would ride roller coasters, I would take pictures, I would go to different forums and leave my reviews and stuff like that. I look back and today what I would do is I would have created a roller coaster website that helped kind of filter that information out. And I look and I'm like, man, so that's why I asked you that. That's why I asked you that question about like, what would you have done? You did in college ultimately is hang out with more people, join new groups. But for me, it's like that could have been this thing 20 years later. I'm like, man, that would have been valuable because I was doing it, even though the internet was still fairly young at that point. People were still on the dial-up machine. Like, it was this thing where you love something. So, like, you love music and entertainment and video, and it's like creating content around those things that you love. So that really resonated with me. I really love that piece of it. So once you know what you love, how do you then kind of take the next steps to get those other people to see it? Because you said share it with them, but how do you know who to share it with?
Well, I guess it depends on what the medium is. So if you're gonna make something like if you're gonna make a YouTube video, shoot it, put it on YouTube. YouTube's owned by Google, so you can do like AdWords, you can promote it that way. I really believe like if you create something, if you're an artist, you create art, you create it first for yourself, but then for the world. So if you don't follow through and find a way to share it with the world, then it's just something that you're doing for yourself. It's just a hobby. And to me, that's not really real. That's not beneficial to anybody. It hurts. Okay, it hurts like hell to share something and somebody go like, this sucks, I hate it. It hurts. And I've heard that a million times. But it also helps you grow. And you also like, well, why do you hate it? What can I learn from what this person is saying from? I think a lot of people don't share stuff because they're like, okay, well, people aren't it's not ready. They're not going to react positively to it. There's a lot of excuses. If you're looking for a reason to say no, you'll find it. So I really recommend get it out there, take the hits, and learn from it. It's okay that it's okay that not everybody loves your stuff.
Yeah, I got that question recently, and someone was like, how do you just get stuff out? And I say, well, I just try and get 80% of it done. And that doesn't take me a long time. I'm not trying to get perfect. I'm not, because I know I'm never going to be perfect. So I just get the core out and see what happens. And if that core sucks, no one else is, like, you didn't put it, that 20% is the hard part, right? That's the really long part, in the 80-20 rule. And that 20, in my opinion, is really hard. And so I'm constantly like, no, let's just get the 80 out. If no one loves it, then guess what? You don't have to perfect it. You don't have to try and tweak it a little bit more, because people aren't looking for that kind of core content, if you will. So when you have something that you think people really will want or resonate with or will relate to, but they're just not, how do you get them to start doing that?
So this is a great question. First and foremost, look at the data. So what's going to happen is you're going to launch a product. So we're going through the same thing right now with the Bug Squasher. So we launched this app, and we're thinking like everybody's going to love it, everybody's going to react to it because we love it, because we see the vision, we see the bigger picture, we see where it's going to be 10 years from now. Well, guess what? It's not $1 billion company. It's not happening. A lot of people know this story and have variations of it. So what do you do in that situation? You don't reinvent the wheel. You don't say like, okay, I'm going to shut this down. You don't say like, okay, I'm going to spend 10 grand on Facebook. You slow down, look at the analytics, look at the data. What is the data telling you? I have seen so many clients, big clients, have websites and they don't have Google Analytics installed on it. Or they have Google Analytics installed, but it's not configured right, so it's not firing properly. So Google Analytics, it's a free tool. It lets you track your website data. It's owned by Google. Super easy to install. Look at the data, see what's going on, see how people are reacting to your website. Are they staying on one page a lot? Are they bouncing? You can even find out it's mostly guys going on the website, girls. You can get a lot of information. Let the data tell you what to do after your launch. And after your launch, give it like a few months. So you have like, it's not like 2 days worth of data, like, oh, great, everybody loved it. It's like, no, that's probably just your friends who went to your product. Give it like 90 days, 120 days. Let the data grow a little bit before making those big moves.
I was talking with a client, actually, I think yesterday, and he was like, oh, I've been doing this for 2 months and it's not working. I'm like, dude, like, it's been 2 months. Like, think about the brands that we buy from. They're decades old. The reason why we're using them over and over again is because they have decades of kind of exposure to us. You have 60 days. Like, of course the world doesn't know who you are yet. Like, you have to tell them to do that. What is Bug Squasher?
So the Bug Squasher, I actually have a funny story of how it all began. It goes back with TRS 51. We had this client, and she was an older lady, probably like in her 70s or so, and we were making a website, which is our bread and butter. So the guys and I were like, great, we got this. It's going to be an easy breezy client. And then gave her the site. We had a milestone, give it to her. She emails me back super late at night. And it's no joke. It's like 10,000 words, single space. And within the middle of it is one sentence that says what the problem is. And I'm like, holy crap. And so I'm reading the sentence. And her website wasn't really small. It had like a good chunk of pages to it. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, goddamn, she didn't say what web page the problem's on. So I got to ask her. I have to diagnose the issue. So I send her a message. Hey, what web page are you looking at? Because I have no idea. And it's the worst thing I could have said. And she called me. She was really angry. She's like, you're an idiot. How come you don't know what the problem is? How come you can't figure it out? And I'm like, I just need to know the URL. And then she's like, it's this page. I'm like, okay, but are you on your phone? And there were just all these questions. Are you on phone or laptop, iPad? Are you on Firefox, Chrome? Of course she was on Internet Explorer. And so it was just like that, like, and I had to tell it to the guys. I had to be like, hey, so guess what? Here's what's going on. And if you ever worked with a website client or I think even some jobs too, like that happens. Someone says something's wrong and you have to diagnose the issue. With websites, this happens a lot where somebody says, this is broken. And you have to say like, well, What are you doing that caused that to be broken? Or how is it broken for you? You have to diagnose it.
Because you're
So when I
trying to
was,
replicate it, and people, it's just the same thing when you take your car in. You hear a noise, but when you take it into the dealership, if they can't find that noise, it's the same process, just on a website.
yeah,
And there's so many
exactly.
different avenues that people can go through. Just like you said, Internet Explorer 6. I'm on this like
Yeah.
old Dell computer. You're trying to replicate that scenario, and so I totally get that. So
Yeah, so I'm telling the guys this. I'm like, okay, here it is. Here's what we learned. And then as I'm telling it to them, like we're having some fun. We're joking around. We're crying too because it's like, wow, why didn't she just say that? Why do I have to go like cry in the shower now after talking to her? And then it just hit me all at once. And I was like, I wish our clients didn't just like us. I wish they loved us. And I just had like this weird moment where I was like, what if it wasn't her fault? What if she wasn't being mean? What if it was on us to deliver this type of service? What would that look like? And then my mind just started racing, and I was like, I wish I could just be like, here's your website. Click on the website and just take a screenshot, and I get all this information from you. I get your URL, your IP address, what type of device you're on, and you can even write, hey, this is broken. And then it would just come into a system. And then from there, it just started growing even more and more with the guys. Where I'm like, well, now that we got this figured out, I don't want it just to come to me. I want to be like, hey, Matt, take care of this. And then, well, now that we got that figured out, like it just kept coming for like the next thing and the next thing. Where it's like, well, now we need reporting, and now we need some trigger stuff to happen, and what happens if you have a live site? Because in the perfect world, a developer never touches a live site, right? You make all the changes to a development website, but that's not reality. People don't have budgets for that. So we thought of a way to put this on your live site where nobody can see it except the people you want. And so that's the bug squasher. It's a tool just to help you diagnose the issue. And then there's all this management side of it on the back end where you can assign it to your developers, copywriters, designers, whatever the tickets are. And then you can also show it to your client and be like, here's a report of where your bugs are and the status of it.
is it only for your clients or for anyone?
We actually just released. So we've been out online now for almost 3.5 weeks now. So it's for anybody who goes to the website. It works on any type of framework. So what that means is you can have WordPress, you can have Laravel, you can have Wix. Once you sign up, you get a line of code, and all you have to do is add it to the header of your website, and then you're up and running.
That's cool. What's the business model there?
What do you mean?
So how do you make money?
So we have 3 different plans. It starts at $29.99. It goes up to $99.99. The only difference between the plans
A
is
month?
how many. Yeah, a month. The only difference between the plans is how many bugs you can report. So the smaller ones are less bugs. The 99 one, the top plan's just more bugs. That's the only difference. With us, we believe like keeps things simple. I've used so many different CRMs from Asana to Basecamp to Podio, where there's always those I get you moments. Okay, so you have 3 people on your team, so that's $120. Like, God damn it. So like that stuff happens all the time. So we don't get you on that. We do get you on the bugs part. So if you want more bugs, you pay more. That's how we get you. But all the features are the same. And we're going to be coming out in the not too distant future with a free trial. Since I've been hearing a lot of people say, hey, do you have a free trial? I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. So yeah, we're working on it. So that's going to be coming out too.
Very cool. Yeah, I always. It's amazing how much money we spend on monthly kind of SaaS products or recurring just tools.
Yeah.
Recently, I went through all mine and I basically downgraded or deleted or moved to a free version of about $8,000 worth of stuff.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my god, like
Oh yeah.
yeah. I was like, I never. And actually, this is the first month where so starting, we're recording this June 28th. So July 1 is like the first day where it all is gonna like the first cycle will go through. So I'm like, I went to my bank account. And I was like, oh wow, like this is really interesting. This is kind of fun. Like finally, like wow, there's gonna be a lot more money now. But I don't. I mean, that's the whole model, right? Is like hopefully they forget to cancel some of these things, and some of the stuff like I was just like, why am I spending so much money on this? It doesn't make sense. So the agency world is pretty easy. It's either time and materials or a flat rate price, and now you have this SaaS model in there. Like, do you think you're gonna? Is the hope that you get away from Treehouse 51, that you don't do agency work now, and that Bug Squasher could be it, or you maybe having both? Like, what's the kind of thought there?
You're the only person who's ever asked me that. I actually I don't have a yes or no answer
See,
on that.
that's why I told you I'm the best interviewer in the world.
Yeah.
See, I'm getting it out of you.
That's good. That's good. Nobody on the team has even asked me that. They were just like, okay, Kirk wants to do this. Let's do it. I don't know. I don't want Treehouse 51 to die. It's my baby. It's the first company that I ever launched, and I've been through hell and back with it. So we still want to do stuff for clients. We still want to create sites, make promos. We still have clients. We're still doing work. And then we also have the Bug Squasher, where I'm just having the best time with it. Like I said, we made that rap video. That's another good story where we're thinking like, how do we market this stuff? With our clients, they have a brand voice. We have to honor that the best that we can. With us, I don't mind pushing the envelope a little bit. And that rap video we shot was there's actually a Target where I live, and there's this kid, and he sells rap CDs. And he was there for weeks. Every weekend I'd go there with my wife or drive by it. And I see this kid selling his rap CDs. And then it just hit me, and I was like, I'm going to make a rap video for the Bug Squasher. And my wife laughed, and she's like, you're nuts. And I'm like, I am nuts, but I'm still making the video. And so you gotta have fun with what you do. I don't want either of them to fail or close down. So I think we're going to keep them both open and see what happens.
So I'm on this kick of the word retirement. And I believe that retirement is something that we've been taught is this thing that happens around your 60s after you have a career in this thing. And I actually have reflected back and recognized that I think that's kind of a load of crap. The reason being is just because we've done something for so long doesn't mean that we have to continue that thing forever. And so we've done events that totally in their peak, I just, I didn't use the word at that time, but I retired them. I just stopped doing them. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And it's not that I don't love it. I just was like, you know what? I think it's run its course, right? It could still have made, tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even more than that in some of these things. But I was like, I don't want to do it. So we had this other event that we've done 4 or 5 times now that I think I'm just done with it. It does very well. And I'm just like, no, I think I'm going to retire it. And people are like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I just think that we should be retiring things more. So that would be my food for thought for you, is just because they're your baby doesn't mean that you should continue to do them forever. Think about retirement in kind of an ongoing place. And it's something that's been very, very nice to think about. Just the amount of time that I might have been spending on something, or, where I could put some of my other resources. And it's something that I think retirement, it doesn't have to be at 65. It can be something, when you're 33 as well. And that doesn't mean retire and never do anything else. It just means, I don't have to be doing this thing for forever anymore as well.
Yeah, you're 1,000% right. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like roller coasters?
I do. I haven't been on one I went on one 2 years ago. We went to Six Flags.
Okay. Which Six Flags?
Six Flags?
Yeah. Which one? Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain.
Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
So I am terrified of heights.
Great.
So, and I went with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and that's when I met her sister and brother and cousins. And I actually had one of my wisdom teeth removed. So I was all doped up. I was in my cheeks were all puffy, and we're out there. It's hot as hell. We're walking around for miles, and I'm scared of heights. So it was the last time I went on a roller coaster, but it was still a ton of fun.
That was a great story. So did you ride a roller coaster there?
Oh yeah, I totally pay for it. You got to go on it. Suck it up.
What are your favorite what's your favorite ride there?
I think they had, I still like the Superman ride because I remember going on it as a kid.
Superman, the one that's just up and back? Interesting.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy happens to it, but I just remember it as a kid just going through that. That one was fun. And then there's that, I forget what the ride is called, but there's this one when you get to the park and it's it's the first thing that you see.
X2?
Is it X2? It's this white one, and it's just all the way around. It's nice.
Are you hanging from the sides?
This one.
Or Colossus, the white.
I think it's that one, Colossus. Yeah.
Had they changed it? So they've converted that to a steel roller coaster now. Had it converted at that point?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
This is Zack Miller's stupid roller coaster enthusiast. I know all this stupid stuff. So there's a company that's innovated wooden roller coasters, which usually were kind of bumpy rides and everything. And so they've kind of converted them to do this quasi steel track that goes upside down and does kind of twist and can do vertical drops and stuff like that. And Colossus is one of the ones that they did. I think it's now called I don't know what it's called. I forget. It doesn't matter. Dueling. I don't know. It doesn't matter. What's something in life that you haven't done that you want to do?
I want to meet Elon Musk. Um, I think I think it's possible. He talks. He's a human. He's on Earth. Yeah. I think he goes to events. I would love to just talk to him and be like, "What's up, dude? What are you doing? Where are things going in your mind? How do you see it?" I've seen him in interviews. It's really hard for me to listen to him. He's just like an awkward speaker. He stutters a lot. He takes his time, but it's also like this is the guy who did PayPal, did SpaceX, who did Tesla. He's changing the world, and I think it'd be interesting just to have a conversation with him, just to talk to him. Not to be like I'm gonna sell you something or sell me something. Just to be like, who are you? Like, who are you really? That'd be something fun to do, and I feel like it's doable.
That's cool. The PayPal Mafia, pretty interesting. The fact that that group of people that were basically the founders of PayPal or the early kind of employees at PayPal, how successful they've been outside of PayPal as well.
Yeah.
It's incredible. My best friend actually is picking up his Tesla probably as we speak right now.
Nice.
It's a Model 3. He's waited 820 days for it. So he bought it as soon as they put it out, and then we live on the East Coast, so all the East Coasters haven't been getting them yet. And so like I talked to him yesterday, and he's like, I don't even know if I'm ready. I'm like, you've had 3 years to be ready for this, man. Like, you have to be ready. So
my wife surprised me with she rented a Tesla for a day, and it's the newer model. I forget what it is, but I made a YouTube video on it, and it was just like it was a birthday surprise. We had it for the day, drove all through Malibu and LA and stuff. And then during the drive, I just started like shooting on my phone, just really, really simple, low budget, nothing fancy, really stupid, but fun. And then I was like, I think I'm going to just cut this together and put it on YouTube. And so I did. I didn't think anybody was going to watch it, and it hasn't gotten like a lot of views. I think it's like around 2,000, but it was so fun. And it was like, oh, this is such a nice birthday.
would you use like Turo? Is that the site to rent the car?
I think she did use that one. Yeah, you rent it from somebody who owns it, and that person waited like 2 years to get the Tesla, and it was one of I don't even remember what the name is, but it's the newer model. So it's the one where it's like they're still like having development problems with it. So when we were at like charging stations, people were like, "Can I see the inside of it? Can I see what it looks like? Can you show me the dashboard and stuff?"
Yeah, they're funky cars.
Cool car.
They're funky cars. I never wanted one, and now my friend, like I was telling you about, is picking his up, and I'm like, no, it's interesting. Right now I have a Jeep Wrangler, which gets 11 miles to the gallon gas. Tesla, it's like you never have to worry about that again. So,
Yeah.
what's something about you that we haven't talked about?
Let's see. We haven't talked about the 9 to 5 world. I used to be, and how I got started as an entrepreneur. I actually did not consider myself an entrepreneur for the longest time. It was kind of just like, oh yeah, you're an entrepreneur, Kirk. And I'm like, no, this is just what I do. And it's just kind of like a weird word. And it wasn't like, I forget what it's called, like where it's like, this is what you are, but you're pretending to not be that. It was just like, no, this just doesn't describe me the right way. I felt like it took a lot of hits for me to be comfortable to be like, okay, I think I'm an entrepreneur. I think that's what I'm doing. But also, I also have a newfound respect for the 9 to 5 life. And I remember working 9 to 5 jobs. I had some really good jobs and I had some really crappy ones. Everybody does. And I remember thinking like when I started Treehouse 51, thinking like I'm just going to get my marketing friends and my film friends, and it's going to be this awesome thing that we're going to do. And then going through everything just gave me a whole new respect for the 9 to 5 world, and being like, oh, okay, maybe that boss was a jerk because he had these things happen to him, and just having a different perspective being on the other end of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone, right? I mean, I think a lot of people at this point really want to just put entrepreneur in their LinkedIn profile, just to be like, ooh, I'm an entrepreneur. This is great.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, my wife has a 9 to 5 job. Respect the crap out of her. Maybe your wife does too. Like, majority of the people in the world have jobs, 9 to 5-ish style. Like, it's okay. So how did you get into this then?
I actually got into it. So from college, I did screenwriting, got jobs in agencies, marketing firms, companies, insurance companies. And then at the end of my 9 to 5 worlds, I met all these people in the marketing world, and I had all these people in the film world, and I wasn't happy with my 9 to 5 job. I wasn't happy with people saying like, "Oh, you do Twitter?" I'm like, I don't do Twitter. I'm not the tweet guy. Like, I'm doing so much more, and I was just so unhappy with what people thought of me and the situation I was in. And so I left that 9 to 5 job. I actually went to an ad agency out here, got interviewed, did great. They offered me a really, really nice job. It was really cush, benefits, dental. Oh, I miss dental. And it was really good pay. And I was talking to my girlfriend, my wife, girlfriend, and I told her, I'm like, hey, they offered me the job. I just left this one. I can take it. And she's like, why don't you look happy? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, in my heart, I feel like maybe now's the time not to take this job. Maybe now's the time. I always say bank on yourself, do things for yourself, and see where it goes. And I actually got into the 9 to 5 world because I wanted to save up enough money to shoot a feature film. And somewhere along the way, I got lost in the stability of it all, and the money of it all, and the comfort of it all. And so I told her this, and she knows about like my film passion and wanting to do a movie. And so we're talking about it. And I said, what would you think if I didn't take this job but tried something? I don't know what the something is, but eventually it became Trios 51. And she's like, go for it, do it now. And we were just dating at the time, and that was when I was like, okay, I'm gonna marry this girl. She's got my back.
Yeah, when I started my business, I was at a job at that point. Or excuse me, when I met my now wife, I was at a job at that point, and so she's gone down the whole roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
So that's I like that line, bank on yourself. That's really good. So your movie, what do you want it to be? Like, what's the premise?
Oof. The one that I'm working on with the guys, it's going to be like this action thriller thing, and we're going to try to have some fun, rewrite the story of what happened if Hitler didn't die. So this is a little side project we're working on right now. I've done other stuff, like TV scripts that I've done for funsies. The one that actually got a lot of attention, where I actually talked to agents and a few people, was called The Cannibals Next Door. And it was a story about this family of cannibals that's on the run from the law, and they're trying to be normal. And they actually have a show now on Netflix, which breaks my heart. It's a comedy show, and it's about cannibals. And I've seen like part of it, and I'm like, nope, you guys did it wrong. This wasn't my premise. But yeah.
Who are the guys?
The guys, they're actually film friends of mine, Joey Valenti and AJ Audit. I went to film school with these guys. They're part of my groom squad. Joey was my best man. Known these guys for years. Actually, I work with them all the time, talk to them all the time, hang out all the time. And we've always said, like in college, like let's do a project, and something always happens. And now we're all grown up, and life is beating the crap out of us. So now we're like, let's do a project. And now it's like completely different. We have all these lessons learned, and now we know what we want to do and what we don't want to do. We have a little bit more experience and wisdom, and a little bit more humble, I think. A little bit more like, okay, let's take the note and let's learn from it. Let's go to the next step.
You guys all live in the same area?
No. So well, I guess we live kind of close. AJ lives in LA, and he's going to be moving, I think, to Colorado next year. Joey moves with the wind, so he's in LA now.
So how do you guys communicate all the time, knowing that like you're not like being able to hold each other's hands?
When we have the meetings, we use Uber Conference. And then we have like text messaging, email, Google Docs. That's where we put like all the story ideas. And we say like, okay, it's Tuesday night. We're going to meet for a couple hours. We go to Uber Conference, share screen, look at the Google Doc.
Yeah, I don't know that I could live without the Google suite of everything.
I couldn't.
Pretty
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.